History as we're taught feels complete. Timelines are neat, dates are labeled, and questions are usually answered. But what if that confidence is all just an illusion? In this episode, we're going to break down the most common grand theories surrounding Tartaria, the old world, and the alternative human history. These ideas appear again and again across research communities, not as proven facts, but as patterns of questioning. No theory that I am about to talk about is presented as truth, but also no idea is dismissed outright on this channel. Because in my opinion, asking questions is how new theories are born. As I said, there are 5 theories that are often talked about when it comes to how people perceive life and history and the civilizations before us. The first that I want to talk about is the 5 eras theory. This theory is one of the most repeated ideas across Tartarian and Old World research, and that is that humanity has not experienced a single continuous civilization, but that we have actually had multiple ages, and the ages between our civilizations have been separated by catastrophic events and or resets. According to this theory, there have been 5 major eras of human civilization, and between each era, something happened. Whether that's natural, technological, or intentional, it erased or reset what came before. The length of the eras is truly unknown. They could span centuries or something much longer. We don't know how many years, how many days. We just don't have all the answers. But let's walk through the theories as I know them. So Era 1 is the Golden Age. The Golden Age is often described as a time when limitation did not exist as we know them today. Simply anything was possible. You were able to build structures with stones the size of cities and have no problem doing it. Everything was perfect. There was no doubt. There was no questioning. Things just got done. Oftentimes, people look back and say that this era was too good to be true because it almost seems like heaven, where everything's perfect. This era is also commonly split into 3 internal periods. Those are known as the Gold Age, the Silver Age, and the Bronze Age. Together, all 3 of those internal periods represent a civilization or civilizations capable of, as I said, constructing massive megalithic structures, moving stone on unimaginable scales, and creating architecture that still defies modern explanation. There have been places discovered and still being discovered where mountains were shaped like cities. Stone blocks that weighed hundreds of tons were moved into perfect forms to structuralize some of these buildings. And not just buildings, but structures in general. And lastly, we've seen and still have fossils to prove this, regardless of what the era was, precision without visible tool marks. In this framework, nothing seemed impossible. And it almost seems as if this era was further advanced than the era that we currently live in today, just based on their structures, their architecture, the buildings, the fact that some of those buildings are still standing. It just seemed like nothing was impossible. The contemporary age. This is the current age that we are in right now. the contemporary age. There's a few different timelines of when the contemporary age actually started, but the one that I most resemble with, and the one that I believe is right around the 1850 mark to present day. The contemporary age is where documentation begins to feel a little more solid. This era includes things like photography, immigration and emigration records, the orphan train system, asylums of all types, census data of the things I just listed, being able to track named individuals, and the fact that they had traceable lives. The claim here is not that history is fake, but that modern society may be living inside the remains of the previous world, while being told a story of progress that doesn't always match the reality that we live today. The second era that I would like to talk about is the Tartarian Age, or the Old World, often referred to by either name. Following the Golden Age came what many researchers call the Tartarian Age. This is the era most associated with domed buildings, massive monumental structures, and grand architecture that's still standing today. Structure from this era appeared suddenly in history books, already completed. According to this theory, many of the buildings we inherited were not constructed by modern civilization, but just reused. The name Tartaria is commonly linked to regions of modern-day Russia and Central Asia, but its architectural fingerprints appear worldwide. In this framework, Tartaria may not have been a single empire, but rather it could have been a name passed down from a tribe that ruled that region, a region labeled used on old maps, which is what we see pretty consistently, or a later term applied to what we now call the Old World. We see the name Tartaria repeatedly on historic maps and structures, but what it truly referred to remains unknown. Whether Tartaria was a civilization, a cultural system, or a misunderstood remnant of something older, this remains one of the biggest unanswered questions, something that we can continue to dive into and hopefully find answers for, but also understanding it might be something that we never find the exact answer for. Then we have the alternate Earth theory, which is described as a very different world. So this is another reoccurring theory that suggests that Earth itself was once fundamentally different. It was a world of colossal trees, massive animals, flora and fauna of almost mythological scale. The proponents of this idea point to what they call mud fossils. These are natural formations believed to be remains of ancient life and structures. There are pictures all over the internet. You can find them, whether it's crocodilian-like animals that are 5 times, 10 times the size of the crocodilians that we know today. Giant structures. One commonly cited example is Devil's Tower. This is proposed by some as the fossilized remains of an enormous tree, but some scientists pointed out that it's a volcanic formation or a non-active volcano. I don't know the answer to this question or either of these theories. I just like that there's ideology and conversation happening between what it is, and there's not really one concrete answer. Nobody has an exact concrete answer. I know this is something that you can visit, and I would like to get there, by the end of my life. There's many structures that are unexplainable that I would love to go see in person for myself, to really gather my own opinion. Throughout these videos and my research and other communities, we can formulate our opinions But to be able to see something like that in real life and touch it and feel it and see the dimensions and not just read words on the internet or in books is just bringing a completely other dynamic to the opinions I have of this world that we live in and its history. Back to this theory, it suggests that what we classify as natural formations may actually be misidentified remnants of the lost world. Let's see. The next theory is the simulation theory. This is one that I hear quite often, and that a lot of people, it has a large community as well, and a large following as to, we live in a simulation. This is the idea that reality itself isn't what it appears to be. The simulation theory proposes that we may be living inside a constructed reality, with evidence appearing as the Mandela effect, which are reality glitches. I know a common one is the Berenstain Bears and the spelling. Conflicting shared memories and inconsistencies in observation. Another example often mentioned is the sun. The sun as we know it is yellow. Orange, yellow, whatever you want to call it. However, nowadays when you go outside during the day and you look at the sun, it's white. And space imagery shows that it's white. So that is definitely something that's, interesting. Supporters of this theory suggest that multiple realities could exist simultaneously, overlapping in ways we barely understand. This is not science fiction, but a framework attempting to explain inconsistencies that we do all notice in our everyday lives. Next, we have the dream theory. There is, again, a large following of this theory. Even further removed from physical explanations is this idea that reality is dreamlike, that consciousness shapes experience, and that reality can bend, that changes occur without any warning. Some believe that this explains timeline shifts, sudden changes in memory, and the instability of perceived truth. In this view, we aren't inside a system, but rather, we are inside experience itself. Some people argue that wars end without meaningful change. Technological advancement often replaces capability rather than enhancing it. And self-reliance, creativity, longevity, and inspiration have all declined compared to previous civilizations. The idea is that we are taught achievement, but we're not experiencing it. Again, it's the most accepted position, and I think the word accepted describes it better than anything, as in people don't have the energy or feel the need or see the why to ask questions. They just accept everything that they've been told. They accept that history is accurate, that timelines are intact, and mistakes, if any, have been minimal. And also that everything should be taken at face value. This theory requires no effort, no reinterpretation, no alternative frameworks, and no uncomfortable questions. It's just simply the default. So I will often, in this series going forward, come back to one main point. And that is, why do we or should we question this at all? I want to bring up two definitions. The first one being courage. And courage is the ability to face what frightens us. And then the second is imagination. And imagination is the ability to form new ideas beyond what the senses provide. These should not be looked at as weaknesses. They should be looked at as tools. Whether any of these theories are true, false, or partially correct is secondary to why they exist at all. Again, this channel is simply about exploring ideas, testing claims, encouraging respectful debate, and never ever shutting down curiosity. The truth is out there. Either we already know everything, or there's still something left to find. And if nothing else, questioning history helps us better understand the world we live in today. In this channel, and hopefully with the community that I'm able to build, as I've said before, I already know this community is strong. I follow several people, and I just wanted to start making videos and bringing my own twist and my own opinions and theories to things. But as the creator of these videos, I'm here to explore theories I find interesting. I want to prove or disprove them, not to preach belief. Respectful conversation is always welcome on this channel. Whether you agree with me, disagree with me, you have something to critique, you have questions, you have some topics that haven't been captured yet that you would like me to dive deeper in and make videos about, I welcome it all. Debate is good, keeps the mind thinking. Having an open mind lets you process information in different ways. Not one single person in this community or in the world has the definite answers, because none of us were alive back then. So whether you want to continue to believe everything that we're taught in grammar school and just be a default, or you want to broaden your horizons and explore and expand and research and come up with your own theories, again, whether they're true or not, you will never know if you don't investigate. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your thoughts, questions, or challenges in the comments. No idea is too uncomfortable to examine. Let's keep asking questions. I'll see you in the next one.